of these sounds. And just to do a quick reenactment, he goes, ugh, ugh, ugh. I'm bleeding.
For real?
His nose is bleeding.
Absolutely true.
On this beautiful shirt. And I'm like, are you okay? And he's like, I don't feel bad, but I'm literally, I have an incredible. This is my favorite shirt. And so, because I am an all-service director, I pull out a Shout packet, dab his shirt, and send him home, because you can't make an actor bleed and then ask him to do another one.
And I went into the production side of the booth and sat there, like jamming things up my nose. And this was the weirdest thing. I have not had a nosebleed in my adult life. I had two, like in a 24-hour period, and that was one of them. And I was like, I really want to stay here and finish this. Maybe I can just, and sitting and we're talking and whatever, and Andy and I are nerding out about nerd stuff, and I'm like, okay, here we go, and I take it out. Gosh, no, and I ended up having to go home.
Yeah, I just
and continued to bleed. I was like, this is weird. Like, I think that it was just dry air or whatever, and I just thought, that's it, I'm dying.
I killed him.
Yeah. WebMD actually said, your symptoms are Andrea Romano killed you in the voice.
It speaks to what we were talking about in the green room, because we were talking about how you're psychic and how she has a way of sort of making you do things without really talking. She mind melds you, basically, while she is recording you. And that's totally it. Her powers are far greater than we even knew.
No, it's scary. It's really, it's really scary.
Well, folks, we thought you might actually like to see the game.
The work in progress. I just have to say, it's amazing being a developer and getting to work with actors, because the first versions I get to see are these cylinders and boxes that are talking to me. It's like the actors from Firefly and Star Trek. I am so leaking out to a rectangle right now.
But in fairness, you knew which rectangle was Jane because it was the really big rectangle.
No, it was always pulsing and angry.
It was the angriest rectangle you've ever seen.
But I'll tell you, the creepiest cylinder I've ever seen was Seaver. And we had this white cylinder in the opening that you all just saw for so long before we had the models, which are still evolving. We had the cylinder which slid into the scene, and it starts talking in its voice. It's like, I'm going to have nightmares about a white cylinder tonight. I'm not going to tell you if I really did, because I'm a little embarrassed. But yeah, I'd love to show you some of the game. Last year we talked about the Cortex. Has anyone played the Cortex? Yeah. Some of you over 1 million BP already? You've got me beat. So we're continuing to evolve the Cortex, and for the sake of time, so we have plenty of time to talk about everything else that's going on, there's much more going in, and the Cortex is very important to the game when it launches as well. And so I'd like to launch the game, and I'll log in my account, and you can't see my keyboard, so you won't get to see my password. I know it is. Josh, don't touch. It's white cylinder. No!
This is just like a real-life loading screen. We're seeing all the complex mathematical operations that are happening. Like, here you go.
By the way, my profile name, I already took it as Wesley Crusher.
Have fun with that.
Oh, we agreed, no Wesley jokes.
It works though, my last name is Wesley, so it's okay.
Oh, well.
Let's see if
I guess you probably hear "Shut Up, Wesley" half as much as I do.
That's my wife, she's in here. So. Let's see if my icy fingers can play this thing. Can you guys hear me? Yeah.
least one full album's worth of soundtrack music already developed. Stay tuned.
It's ready. We just got to get it distributed, basically.
Yeah.
It's ready to go.
And there's more to come.
Distributed into my inbox.
So we would like to do some Q&A. Just come right up to the mic.
One question most of us are going to ask is when?
Well, as you can see from the cinematic we showed you, we've made a ton of progress, but we still have a ways to go. Actually, I think I'm going to let John answer the rest of the question because I'm a chicken. No, because the reality is, every time we work on this game, we come up with more cool stuff to put in it. And I know there's there's a point at which no great work of art is ever finished, only abandoned. But this is a very special project. And if there's an opportunity to make it a better game, we kind of have an obligation to all of you to do that.
Yeah, I mean, the short answer to that is we do it right. Our biggest concern, probably looking back, is that we were too fast to say, oh yeah, we'll do it in a year, or 12 months, plus 1, plus 2, plus 6, and another 8. But there's so many things that have changed, not only with the technology, and originally starting in mobile and then going to PC, now going to Steam, having the big damn heroes, and these awesome actors here as well, of course. I still keep Captain Puckpants, though you're not getting it well.
But, you know, in the last year, we figured out how to make everybody's gameplay influence everybody else's gameplay. So when all of you are in the cloud and you're playing Firefly Online, depending on how you play it, the whole game changes for everybody. And we want to make the verse a living and breathing place for you to live in.
So we're dancing around that answer, if you didn't notice.
Yes, sir.
Slightly similar question. I was curious if there's going to be any sort of early access to the game, like when it's in beta, or before it's completely finished, where people can get in it and get a feel for it.
Yeah, those are things that I'm going to jump on really quickly.
Okay.
Just because of the word, in development, we deal with Steam quite a bit. And early access means something very different than beta. And we've had countless discussions internally, and it's critical to understand what it is that we're trying to do. Again, I'll go back to it, do it right. And giving someone an experience, if it's not ready, we don't want to let you down. And so, early access is out there. It's something that developers do. I can't answer if we'll do it or not. Beta, on the other hand, the game, when it's ready, we absolutely need lots of people to help us test this social deep interaction, because I'm watching. But we need your help, quite honestly, and we will very publicly announce a need. And I think we actually did something like that with the Cortex.
Yes, we did.
So.
And actually, we'll make a semi-official, unofficial announcement that we've made the decision not to do early access because we will do a formal beta program. It will be a free beta program, and it will be by invitation. And as the game gets more solid, we'll invite more of you in. But the reality is, after a lot of conversations, we didn't feel like you should have to pay to help us fix our problems. Features. Help us fix our features.
Thank you.
Actually, we also have a very active online community, and they have questions as well. Jennifer?
The internet
Jennifer is monitoring the internet, and unfortunately can't walk at internet speeds.
Hi, I'm Jennifer. I'm actually helping out with the social media for Firefly Online, so if you guys are on our Facebook or Twitter, you will probably have some interactions with me at some point. And if you have seen us in the past couple days or weeks, we actually took questions online, so I will also be asking some questions that were submitted over Facebook and Twitter. We had a question from James Falcon on Facebook who asked, he's not quite sure how this is going to be an immersive PC game when it will have to work on Android and Apple phones. Are we going to have to scale back for PC in order for it to be cross-platform?
No, we're going to scale up. Bigger and better. Well, this is one of the wonderful things about the technology that we're using, and we have been using, even before as a developer, Unity. And if you're familiar with Unity, it's one of the most widely used middleware game engines in the world at the moment. And one of the things that it allows us to do as developers is focus on the features and on the technology that runs our game. And so mobile, tablet, PC, 12 plus platforms that are supported, you know, it's parity of features across the board. And we want to make sure that the experiences you have, you can play it. The biggest thing that I'll note, it's not so much the technology that's limiting the experience, it's your screen size. As you saw, there's quite a bit that's going on between an RPG, a flight, commodity system, you know, occasionally that awesome loading screen. Yeah. I wrote that. I didn't. No. But it's down to the screen size more than anything else. You know, your level of immersion is directly proportional to the size of the screen that you're interacting with. So we want to do that, but make sure you have a very big phone or a very large tablet.
The latest generation of mobile technology is pretty amazing in terms of its ability to drive high-end graphics and give you a rich game experience. And because our game is based in the cloud, a lot of the heavy lifting is actually happening on the server, which makes the device that you hold in your hand or that you type on, as long as it gives you a good visual experience, that's the most important thing. The rest of it's really handled on the server side. Sir.
Hi there, my name is Steven. I was actually just curious as I got this nice little flyer that you guys handed out. And I noticed that most of you are from the quantum mechanics team up there. I was wondering...
well, two of us are.
Oh, okay. And I was wondering, the Sparkplug team, is there anybody up on the panel representing Sparkplug right now? Hi there. I was just curious, real quick, how big is your team working full-time on?
About 100,000. 42. Well, full-time is interesting because, again, we've been doing games on and off for 20 years, and our team sizes have changed as the years have gone by. So starting with products that we did with 6 people, went to some that went upwards over 100. This team in particular is interesting because we leverage a lot of the expertise of not only full-time employees internally, but associates that we've worked with at other game studios who are now independent consultants. It's a very diversified industry at this point. You actually don't find a tremendous number of teams that are breaking away from larger studios, which I won't name. Excuse me. They're awesome. I love them. They're in our town. But more and more people are actually finding they can do work and not be full-time, which gives the flexibility of people to live anywhere in the world. So I think we represent the Firefly development team working with Sparkplug Games is probably in 7 different countries, including the U.S. Of course, yeah, represent.
Next question.
Hey guys, how's it going today? I just wanted to say thanks for everything that you guys did. Oh, sorry. I was wondering about spaceships, things like that. In the game that you run around in, you know, you can get knocked out of the sky, your spaceship can blow up, and then it just is all awash. So I was wondering...
So to speak.
Wow, too soon. Too soon.
Come on! Too soon!
So will your spaceship be able to be blown up and then you have to get a new one? Will you be able to be potted and things like that?
Did you see the opening cinematic?
You can definitely die in this game. And in many, many colorful ways. In fact, when we get really frustrated, we come up with new colorful ways to kill you.
Turn you into a white
I recall
soldier.
making my nose bleed to help bring those characters to life.
We are so going to use that now.
In terms of spaceships, we've spent a ton of time on spaceships because we love spaceships. We love spaceships. Anyway, there are currently 35 new ship designs in the game. Yes. And
So break one, you can have another one.
yeah, there are other ships if you break them, assuming you don't die, which we like to kill you, so you will die. But anyway.
You saw me playing the way I do.
Jen, another question from online?
This one's actually for Will. Judson Russell on Facebook asked if Wesley Crusher had been on Firefly, what would his job have been?
I'm going to go ahead and presume that we're talking about Wesley Crusher not as a 14-year-old and Wesley Crusher as a like probably almost 20-year-old, and I think that he would probably, he would totally be in the whole engineering department with Kaylee. Oh. That's what he would be doing. Yes, a lot of engineering. A lot of inverse neutrino pulses being emitted through the water gauge. That is what would be happening there. Rerouting a lot of power from the forward deflector shield. Make sure that we can squeeze just a little bit more out of the water.
It needs to be appropriate for people under the age of 18.
Engineer talk.
I'm just talking in highly technical language about how you handle things in the engine compartment.
That's why they go to college to learn these things.
That's all. That's how you do it.
Next question. If you can recover from this. We're watching now.
Besides the main crew, are there any plans to bring other characters from the show back, like Badger, Niska,
Yeah.
Bridge?
In the main story, the one that has been completed, which is, I think we're estimating roughly 2 hours storyline. At least 2 hours. It's basically a movie. We did get Michael Fairman back. Niska is in the game. She went over the scenery like you would not believe. So, I mean, he was amazing and wonderful and sounded so great and scary as hell. Anyway, but yes, you will see familiar faces beyond the big damn heroes. But I also really want to stress, if all Firefly Online does is retread what was done on the show, we failed. The point here is to expand the verse, not just repeat it. And so you have a lot of new folks in. And, you know, I'm particularly really fond of Whisper Lopam, which is the crime boss who competes with Badger on Persephone, who you will have some very interesting run-ins with.
Hi, my name is Sheila, and my question is, how much, if any, and to what extent are the original writers from the show involved in Firefly Online?
And this is a good thing. Most of them have really good day jobs now. We've had a lot of advice and guidance from folks who were involved in the original show. The writers for the game are game writers. And if you talk to writers, they will tell you writing for a game is different than writing for a TV show. But we've had lots and lots of advice and consultation behind the scenes. And, you know, I think most of the actors who came out to play said,